I don't know why I'm writing this, or who will see it, but please don't watch channel 196. No, 198. Let's start at the beginning. I was a 6-year-old kid living life as normal my parents, who were big Christians and always went to church every Sunday. I didn't care for Christianity, but back then it was forced on me. When I was 8, my dad bought me a TV with a box that detects weaker frequencies so we could watch Christian-only TV shows. I remember the shows were just prayers and hymns. The kids shows were okay, but they always kinda scared me. There was one kid show that was of really crappy quality, which was this Christian Blue Peter show called Ominous Morimer, which is a Latin word that I didn't understand. Yet I watched the show anyways because it was the only show that played on Wednesday, which was when I didn't have any homework. So I could watch TV. The man who ran it was called Ed Locker. He was the only cast member, and from the shitty quality of the show, he was the one editing and recording. In the show, he just talks to people about their experiences with God, and then sings a hymn or two, then does some DIY crafting thing. DIY. I watched the show frequently until I was 13. That's when my mom and dad decided to give up Christianity, so I got a new TV. My family got rid of that frequency box just out of curiosity. I taped the last couple of episodes of Ominous Morimer and watched them over. I will describe them to you. Ominous Morimer, episode 98. Starts with Ed dancing with a few kids in the back garden. He starts singing a hymn and then talks to a woman who suffered temptation. Ominous Morimer, episode 99. Ed sings and then begins building a fort from boxes, then him looking at a kid who had just seen a man drop his wallet. The boy is deciding whether to pick it up and run or give it back. That's when the episode ends. The years passed and I was moving out into an apartment whilst looking for clothes. I found the frequency box and plugged it in and went straight to channel 198. The show was just coming on, so I sat down and watched. Ominous Morimer, episode 666. It starts with Ed, who still hasn't aged, walking down a dirt road. He's outside a casino in Las Vegas staring with contempt at a drunk man. He says to the screen, "This man has accepted temptation and the devil, and now must pay." He then walks up to the man and says loudly, "Accept Jesus." The man says in a slurred voice, "Feck off." Ed shakes his head and says, "Naughty man." He walks behind the man and, oh my God, he smashes a bottle over his head and then continuously stamps on his head, which by this point is revealing brain. He turns to the camera and says, "Naughty, naughty," with a wink. Behind him you see the drunk man and Ed goes, "The man behind me will be homework." I was in disbelief. I switched the box off and threw it in the bin. Jesus Christ. I'm never watching that again. I sat in bed, terrified and hoping it was fake. The next day when I woke up, I stumbled down to the kitchen. The news was blaring. All my ears could catch was a clear voice on the news repeating, "Man beaten to death outside casino in Las Vegas." I was shaking at this point and decided to anonymously call the police. I told them everything, and they kept saying in reassuring voices, "We understand, and we know of the channel, and we're working on it." That night, I got the box and plugged it in to see if the channel was still on TV. And sure enough, there was Ed, looking at a man who was strapped to a chair and trying to escape. Ed said, "Today, kids, we'll be learning about following in the rules of God." The man then screamed louder and Ed said, "Be quiet." Good friend, things come to those who wait. That's when Ed put some kind of cat mask over his face, grabbed a knife, and hid behind the door. This was odd until a SWAT agent walked in and looked at the man strapped in the chair but couldn't see Ed. Ed pulled a gun out and shot through the wall, and the bullet went through the SWAT man's head. Ed ran through the house and out the front door and said, "The show is going to be off for a while, but don't worry. All shall soon be cleansed." The news was blasting. The SWAT team raided the house of Christian TV personality Ed Locker after a report of him murdering innocent non-Christians. The SWATs searched his house, finding dead bodies, some of which were children. They also discovered a camera that contains footage of the attacks, more at 5 o'clock. Now I'm really scared. If anyone knows, anything, help. I haven't left my house because I feel watched as if he is watching. I think I am going insane. Please help.